Hi there. Good morning. I wanted to talk about something that you've been trying to create for years and still haven't. So this would be something that you've always wanted, that you're going for. And what I want to do is allow you to experience some of the mistakes of why we don't have what we want. And in that is to notice where we're starting. And so really what I'm focusing on is for us to bring this into the moment of now, which I say is the greatest opportunity we have, is the potential that each of us are right in this moment, not in the future and not because of our past, but what do we want? And I think this is the true thriving is when we can learn to create what we want. And so the problem is, like, if you think about, for you, what outcome have you been trying to create? Which outcome are you going for and don't have it? And there's, like, this is a big topic. What I'm working to do is bring focus into your autopilot, your default, your thinking that is already playing from your past patterns. And in that is like, oh, if I want to change, I have to be aware of the patterns that I'm running. And many of the mistakes that people are making in creation is, one, we don't understand how creation works, even though it just happens. Yeah. And what we need to do is our identity, our belief of who we are, is in the way of getting what we want. And so that is in a misalignment where our emotions are misaligned, and all of that I could go through, but here, just to be quick. So think about an outcome that you've been trying to produce and you haven't yet. Just notice if there's any resistance, meaning you're having a hard time coming up with it, or it could be like it's right there. Yeah. And then it would be like, oh, when you have it, it's like, oh, when I have this, or like when I become this, then what? What will that give you? And then what will that give you? See, so often one of the mistakes that we're working from is that we're giving our power away. And if you said, when I have that, the future will be better, you're giving your power of the moment of now to the future. And the opposite, when you say the future will be better when I have that, what you're saying to your unconscious is now is not good enough. And so do you see how you will never be able to have what you want from this structure? So the only way to have that would be to be that. And see, this is not how we were raised. This is not our autopilot. And this is why the personal development industry is a $40 billion industry. For 2,000 years, we've been looking at how do we become whole. And that is what I say the personal development industry is helping people do. Well intended. And there are improvements. But at what time, at how much money, how much time does it get better? And really, it comes down to the structure you're working from. And so if you think about what is it that you want, and you think like, oh, how different the future will be, how different you're going to be when you have that, you'll never get it. And all you need to do is notice, like, oh, do you tell yourself that? And if you do, that's a pattern that you believe. Another one is that, oh, we sabotage what we want. And one of the big ones, there's 6 sabotaging. One of the big ones is, I'm not good enough. And you see again how I'm giving away, I'm not good enough. And I'm not good enough to have what I want. And so what happens is, as we go for what we want, this I'm not good enough pops up, and our tendency, our autopilot, is to, oh, I've got to go fix this. And so what we do is we take our focus off of the prize, off of what we want, and we say, oh, look, I've got this I've got this inefficiencies, right? I've got this problem. I've got to go fix myself. I'm broken about this. I need to go to this course, read this book, become this, become that. And there's plenty of personal development out there to help us, right? Fix this. And so then we take our focus off of what we want. And now we say, oh, now what I want to do is go fix myself. And so then we go down and fix ourselves. We get to completion of that. Oh, we feel better about that. And we come back and we say, oh, I still don't have what I want. I must not be good enough. Okay, so let me go do that again. And do you see this pattern just over and over again? And this becomes how we operate. And our operation has been becoming solving problems. And so let me ask, if you solved all your problems today, would you have what you wanted? Would it give you everything that you wanted? Likely, the question is no, because you're not focusing on it. And so what it is like, oh, and then not to mention like all the generational emotions that have been passed down, not only genes, not only your appearances, not only your behaviors, but the beliefs and traumas from your past, from your ancestors has been passed down with you. And so these are in the middle of like telling you why you can't have it. And so what it is to look at where am I giving my power away, which means, oh, I'm playing the victim. Ooh, and right there, that many people may have just turned me off because the victim's like, oh, I can't be a victim. A victim has no power over the circumstances, over the situations. You're reacting to the outside environment. And that is where most people are living. They're not responsible for that. It's like, and what we're trying to become whole with is to align the internal state with the external state. And we say, when I have that, then my internal state will match it. The power is we're putting it in material, in the things out there. And when we have it, then we'll be complete. See, the power is giving away again. And so like my biggest pivot is to notice where is your power, which is where is your focus? And if it's not focusing on what you want, and if it's not like 90% of the time focused on what you want, 90% of the time is focused on how you're not good enough or how the future will be better. And it's from a wrong structure. See, we were taught this structure. We were taught this is the structure that works. And this is why for 2,000 years, becoming whole has never been possible. So to become whole, what would you have to do? You have to accept your whole now. You're not broken. And what is most important, like here, let me ask you this question. Is there anything more important than right now? If you say yes, then you're living from this structure, from a powerless structure. See, you're giving the power of your moment of now, of your life, somewhere else. And it's usually, most of us, because of like our background in the United States, we're giving it to the future. The future will be better when. Which says the now is worse. And so when we become aware of the now, we become aware of the time and space that we are sharing. And time is like, we can notice that we're either looking to the future, to the past, or the present. And I said, like, is there any moment more important than the now? The now is all we have. We don't never know if the future will be there. My pattern that I noticed is that when I have all my money, then I can be happy. Never was going to happen. And what if I didn't hit my money? Well, I could never be happy. You see how I could have could have wasted the rest of my life. And when I noticed like how to get out of this victim pattern, out of this powerless pattern, notice I was giving my power away, I could change it. Now, it wasn't overnight change. But there is ways of rapid change, and it's all around these beliefs, our autopilots that we put up in the way that we can't get through. And when I found this way to get through my limiting beliefs, to pivot my whole perspective, wow, I learned how to create. And that is what I'm sharing with you today. And so in that is like, what are we pivoting to? We're pivoting away from a powerless structure, from giving our power away, stepping into owning our power and directing it into what we want. And that requires becoming aware of the now. That now is the most important. Yeah? Every moment of now, become aware of our thoughts and our feelings. And the feelings are is the fuel, is the catalyst that really gets this going. And most of us, our feelings are negative. Our judger is our thinker, our prover, our validator. And you see how this is just a negative, it's scarcity, it's limited, it's lacking point of view. We're coming from a power of lack, coming from a point of lack of power. Yeah. And when we say, no, I am the powerful creator, I can create what we want, we're putting our power and attention on what we want. And this becomes a flowing structure. And so when we can say, oh, I am whole now, we can be it to see it. See, be it to see it means if I'm whole now, then I can become whole. I'm in the journey, I'm becoming it. And it's not like we'll ever become whole, right? But I'm already it now. I'm already whole. And so to be it to see it says have it before you see it. And our philosophy, I think the powerless structure, the victim structure, and anything that I say that you're like, you maybe don't like could be a disagreement, but there's resistance there. It's like, oh, that's not me. That's not me. I don't do that. I don't do that. Means you're doing it. You just need to pause and look at it like, oh, where might I do that? Where could I do that? And that is the only way to begin to open up the change. And after that, then there's rapid change that you can put, that you can utilize your resistance to. And this is what makes it uncomfortable. And this is the pain, quote, pain of going through it. We can eliminate that pain. Now, not like you still have the experience. Yeah. But we remove the emotional charge to it so that you can just take the obvious action. And so in that, like some of the mistakes is we're working from the wrong structure. We're giving our power away. We're looking to heal the current reality instead of letting it go. We're thinking you will change when you achieve a result. Yeah, thinking you'll change when you, and so, and this is our see it to be it. And so when I see it, then I'll be it. Yeah, we're out of emotional alignment with what you desire. Yeah, when they're not aligned up, it's like, oh, you want it, but you can't have it. Yeah, not going for what you love. Yeah, that's a big one. That's most of us are not going for what we love. We're going for solving a problem, fixing ourselves. Yeah. And so those are just some places, some mistakes that we are wrapped up in our identity, unable to go for what we want. So what is holding you back? What is in your way? Are you giving your power away? If you are, come learn how to focus your power on what you want, giving that 90% that you focus on, oh, this is what I want. This is what I want. And what you do is you're doing it already. You just line it up for what you want rather than avoiding what you don't want. See, the powerless structure, we're trying to avoid all the problems. Avoid all this from happening. We don't want it to come into existence. And when you're just creating what you want, you're bringing it into existence. So all the things, all the problems, you create it without them. That is the beauty of creation. That is creating life. And that is creating life in the moment of now, which changes the outcomes in the future. It is changing our autopilot. It is changing our defaults. It is changing the patterns that we're stuck in. And so I am excited about sharing how we can get unstuck from our patterns. All right. Have a great day. Thank you so much.